Hey, Bears fans! Welcome back to another deep dive into everything happening with our Chicago Bears. The offseason is finally picking up pace, and we've got a lot to unpack. With the dust settling from the end of the season, the big question on everyone's mind is whether the Bears should go all in on Max Crosby. It's one of those scenarios where the answer really depends on what the price tag looks like. If the trade requires giving up the first-round picks, hesitation is understandable. But considering the Bears are picking in the 20s this year, and that's likely where they'll land next season too, there could be some wiggle room to make a move that changes the defensive landscape. Looking at potential trade scenarios, if the team could secure Crosby for a first, a data pick, and maybe even a player like DJ Moore, it starts to make sense. The Raiders' situation complicates things a bit, as they still need to determine their coaching staff and where Crosby fits in their long-term plans. Questions like whether Crosby even wants to stay or move on will inevitably affect the rumors and chatter throughout the offseason. There's no denying, though, that adding a player of his caliber would provide a serious boost to Chicago's defensive front, giving them a much-needed edge when comparing potential defensive upgrades. Some fans wonder if Max Crosby is the better target over someone like Miles. While Miles might be the more talented player on paper, his contract and trade costs could make him a tougher acquisition for the Bears over time. The financial commitment to Miles would only grow, making a player like Crosby, who can be acquired at a more manageable cost, a more realistic and strategic option for bolstering the defense. It's the kind of decision that could define the Bears' approach this offseason, finding a balance between immediate impact and long-term sustainability. Another question buzzing among fans is what to do with DJ Moore. Despite a strong season, his contract creates a cap challenge, but it isn't insurmountable. Teams with ample cap space could step in to acquire him, and depending on the structure of the deal, it might be possible to move him after just a year if things don't work out, while a first-round return is unlikely. A mid-round pick could be enough to clear significant cap space, giving the Bears flexibility to pursue other key players. Essentially, Moore remains a valuable asset, both on the field and as a financial lever for the team's roster management. Turning toward the draft, the Bears' focus seems clearly oriented toward reinforcing the defensive line. There's a strong desire to add impactful players who can change games, whether through free agency, trades, or the draft itself. Names like Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, and Trey Hendrickson come to mind as potential free agent targets. While the draft could bring new young talent ready to make a difference, defensive tackles, edge rushers, and linebackers will likely be priorities, aiming to recreate the kind of success the team found with their offensive draft picks last year. The strategy here is simple: strengthen the front seven and make the defense a unit that opponents have to plan around. The conversation also extends to individual players who may be on the edge of roster decisions. Javon Dexter, for instance, has shown flashes as a pass rusher but struggles against the run, highlighting the challenges of balancing skill sets in a defense. Players like him might find themselves rotating in and out of the lineup or even becoming trade candidates, depending on how the coaching staff evaluates their potential contributions. The key is finding pieces that complement each other and build a cohesive unit, rather than relying on one-dimensional talent. Looking at the offensive side, the left tackle position is another topic of interest, with concerns about injuries and overall depth. The Bears might explore options in free agency or later in the draft to add a swing tackle who can step in when needed. The position has seen its challenges, but the hope is that with strategic additions and proper coaching, the offensive line can provide the protection necessary to let the quarterbacks operate comfortably. It's a balancing act that requires careful attention to both immediate needs and future development. Young players like Reuben Hipp also face critical off-season periods. Drafted for his speed and athleticism, there's an expectation that he can become a contributor in the coming seasons. While his first year may not have been as impactful as hoped, there's potential for growth, particularly in special teams roles where athleticism and energy can make a difference. The key for players like Hipp is to gain experience, learn the system, and gradually earn more playing time as they prove themselves capable of handling the responsibilities of the position. As the Bears navigate this offseason, decisions about trades, free agent signings, and draft picks will shape the identity of the team for the upcoming year. Defensive improvements, offensive line depth, and strategic acquisitions could all converge to make Chicago a more competitive team. Fans should expect active discussions rumors swirling about big names, and careful consideration from management on how to get the most out of the roster. The path forward involves weighing risk versus reward, and making moves that can create both immediate impact and long-term success. The offseason also provides an opportunity to reflect on lessons learned from the previous year. The team's strengths and weaknesses are now clearer, and the coaching staff has a chance to address gaps while building on areas that worked well. Player development, strategic signings, and draft execution all play into the larger picture of creating a roster capable of contending week in and week out. It's an intricate puzzle, and every decision matters, from the front office to the field. Looking forward, fans will want to track every move closely. Trades like Max Crosby or potential draft surprises could shift the balance in the NFC North, while free agent acquisitions could provide immediate upgrades. The Bears' approach seems methodical, aiming to blend young talent with experienced players who can contribute from day one. While some questions remain about contracts, player preferences, and draft outcomes, the excitement of this period is undeniable. It's a time for hope, analysis, and planning for a season where the Bears aim to rise in the standings and make a statement on both sides of the ball as the offseason unfolds. One of the key narratives revolves around the defensive line and how the Bears intend to reshape it. There is a clear understanding that adding pressure on opposing quarterbacks and reinforcing the run defense are top priorities. The team has several options on the table, from pursuing established free agents to exploring trade opportunities and carefully evaluating draft prospects. Players like Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa represent the high-end impact acquisitions that could transform the defense, while younger, less heralded names could offer depth and rotational flexibility. Every choice involves weighing immediate impact against long-term development, and the Bears' front office appears focused on striking that delicate balance. Trade rumors will inevitably dominate discussions, particularly around players such as Max Crosby. His presence on the field could instantly elevate the defensive unit, but acquiring him would require strategic maneuvering and potentially surrendering valuable draft capital. The team must consider not only the talent he brings but also his contract fit within the defensive scheme, and how his addition would affect the development of younger players. At the same time, there is ongoing debate over whether to pursue someone like Miles, whose skill set might exceed Crosby's in certain areas, but comes with a much larger financial commitment for Chicago. The goal is to enhance the defense without jeopardizing flexibility, making these decisions critical. The question of roster composition extends beyond star acquisitions. Depth across all defensive positions is vital, particularly for positions prone to injury or high rotation, such as defensive tackle and linebacker. Players like Danielle Hunter could emerge as trade targets, offering versatility and potential upside. Meanwhile, the team will need to evaluate performance metrics from the previous season to determine which existing players can be relied upon and who may need to be replaced. Javon Dexter's mixed performance highlights this challenge. While he has shown promise as a pass rusher, his struggles against the run emphasize the importance of fit and consistency. The Bears must assess whether these players can improve within the system, or whether a change of scenery might better suit them and the team. Special teams and developmental roles are also critical areas of focus. Young athletes, such as Reuben Hipp, drafted for their speed and athleticism, need opportunities to contribute while refining their skills. The expectation is that even if they do not start immediately, they can make an impact on kickoff coverage, punt returns, and other special teams units. These contributions, though sometimes overlooked, can influence game outcomes significantly and help integrate young players into the overall team culture. The coaching staff's ability to maximize these athletes' potential will play a key role in how the roster evolves in the coming months. The draft remains another cornerstone of the Bears' offseason strategy. The team will need to decide whether to prioritize defensive reinforcements or explore offensive depth. Defensive line talent is likely the focus, but considerations around linebackers, safeties, and even offensive line depth could influence draft day decisions. The ideal approach involves identifying players who not only possess raw athleticism but also demonstrate football intelligence and adaptability. Successfully integrating rookies into a complex system requires patience, training, and a clear vision for how each player fits into both current and future schemes. This balance between immediate contribution and long-term potential is one of the defining aspects of the offseason strategy. Off-season planning also extends to contract management and cap flexibility. Decisions surrounding players like DJ Moore illustrate how teams must balance talent retention with financial strategy. While his contract may present challenges, it also creates opportunities to restructure or make trades that free up space for other acquisitions. Teams with sufficient cap room may see him as a valuable addition, especially if they are looking for an established receiving threat. For the Bears, the goal is to leverage contracts strategically, ensuring that cap space is available to pursue high-impact moves without limiting future flexibility. Coaching and player development remain integral to all off-season activities. The Bears staff must assess where improvements are needed and design training programs tailored to address those weaknesses. Players returning from injury, younger athletes learning the system, and new acquisitions must all be integrated efficiently to create a cohesive unit. Evaluating each player's growth potential and understanding their roles within the scheme will determine how well the team performs once the regular season begins. The offseason is not just about acquiring talent. It is about maximizing the potential of the entire roster through preparation, coaching, and strategic planning. In addition to roster construction, the team's approach to culture and accountability cannot be underestimated. Leaders within the locker room, veterans, and coaching staff set the tone for expectations, discipline, and resilience. The offseason is a time to reinforce these values, emphasizing work ethic, professionalism, and commitment to team goals. Creating an environment where players can thrive, take risks, and develop confidence is essential for building a roster capable of competing at a high level, week in and week out. Fans will notice the pace of activity picking up as the draft approaches, free agency begins, and trade rumors intensify. Every move will be analyzed for its strategic value and long-term implications, whether it is acquiring a marquee defensive lineman, finding a developmental project with high upside, or restructuring contracts to create financial flexibility. The Bears' decision-making process is focused on building a team that can compete both immediately and sustainably. The goal is not just to make headlines with trades or signings, but to craft a roster that can consistently challenge opponents in all phases of the game. Beyond the on-field roster, the organization's ability to scout talent, manage resources, and implement effective schemes will define the Bears' success. This includes evaluating potential draft picks for athleticism, character, and football IQ, as well as making targeted free agent acquisitions that address specific weaknesses. Strategic trades, whether for immediate impact or future draft capital, will also shape the team's trajectory. Every offseason decision, from player development to contract management, has ripple effects that will influence the team's performance for years to come. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The rumor spreading through league circles has the weight of something big. Even if nothing has been signed or sealed, Derrick Henry, one of the most imposing stars of modern football, is suddenly being linked to the Bears, and the idea alone has sent waves of excitement through the city. It is the kind of speculation that feels almost unreal at first, yet impossible to ignore once it takes hold. Coffee shops, radio shows, and locker room hallways are buzzing with the same question. What if Henry really arrives? Sources close to the situation insist that conversations are happening, at least in theory. Nothing official, nothing concrete. Just the kind of exploratory chatter that precedes major moves. Still, the fit is easy to imagine. The Bears have long been associated with physical football, cold weather toughness, and an identity built on strength. Henry, with his rare combination of power, speed, and durability, seems almost designed for that narrative. Even as a rumor, the pairing feels symbolic, like a return to a classic style updated for the modern era. Fans are already dreaming of what such an addition could mean. A dominant running game that controls tempo, a locker room energized by the presence of a proven star, a statement to the rest of the league that the Bears are thinking big, not settling for incremental steps. Of course, skeptics point out the financial challenges and the risks that come with any blockbuster move. They caution that speculation often runs ahead of reality, and that silence from both sides should not be mistaken for confirmation. Yet rumors in sports rarely grow this loud without some spark. Whether this talk fades quietly or turns into something seismic remains to be seen. For now, the mere possibility of Derrick Henry in a Bears uniform is enough to put the franchise in a celebratory mood, feeding hope, debate, and imagination, sometimes in sports. The rumor itself is powerful enough to change the atmosphere, and right now, Chicago feels like a city holding its breath. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.